Here's exactly why tutoring companies all have empty schedules and most struggle to fill their classes. So you see, the average tutor calendar looks something like this. 9 a.m. booked, 12 p.m. booked, but that's pretty much it. And there's a few common problems with this. One is that tutors with gaps in their calendars make a lot less money. These classes most of the time don't fill. And then you have full afternoons when there's not a single tutor, meaning you're not making a single dollar. Now, your problem isn't your teaching quality or anything like that. It's just that you don't have any system getting you predictable enrollments. Now, if we dig a little deeper, why do most tutoring businesses actually depend on unpredictable demand? Well, the most common student sources are going to be referrals, school recommendations, Facebook groups, and seasonal demand. Now, these all look fine at the surface because they get you students, so that's good. If we start with referrals are pretty good, right? They're free, you don't have to do any work, but that's pretty much the whole extent of everything that's good about them. And there's a whole bunch of negatives, which is you have no control over referrals, meaning there's no way for you to influence how many referrals you get, at least not at scale. Like you can ask a few students, like, yeah, do you know anybody else who could benefit from this? But that's only gonna get you so far. And at the end of the day, it's really just on the student to tell another student that your work is good and that the other student also needs your work right now. And then the other student needs to come to you and pay you, right? So there's absolutely no control. And there's also no predictability because similar to control, like how are you supposed to know how many referrals you're gonna get next month? But it's very, very difficult to predict and control, right? So you have no idea what's going on and you have no idea what's gonna happen next month. And on top of that, you have no way to influence what's gonna happen next month. Pretty much the same thing goes for school recommendations. Now, Facebook groups, there you at least do something. So you have to post on Facebook to get more students. And you do have some level of control when posting on Facebook groups, as you know, if you want more students, you're gonna have to post more. But you're still very limited because most Facebook groups genuinely limit how much you can post, right? So you're extremely limited. And even if you weren't limited, it takes a lot of time and it's all manual work. So it takes a lot of your time, or you have to pay somebody to do it. And then that's pretty expensive because you have to pay somebody to keep posting on these groups. And if you want to scale that, you didn't have to hire a bunch more people, which is just way too complex and just not worth it at all. And then seasonal demand, it's great when it's January, but it's not so great during the summer, as you all probably know. Now, ultimately, all of this leads to a pretty random student flow, right? 1 month, you're busy, you're full, and then the next month, you're half empty, right? Now, the problem here is that when students disappear, all of your costs still remain, right? So you still have to pay your tutors. You still have some marketing expenses. You've got admin costs. Maybe you're paying some softwares. You've got, God forbid, you have a physical tutoring center, like you have to pay rent, electricity, all those bills. So that adds up. Your revenue goes up and down, but your expenses don't. They stay pretty much forever. Now, most tutoring businesses have let's say 5 tutors, and each of the tutors can do 20 sessions per week. Now, if we do some basic math here, that's 100 session capacity per week, right? The problem is if you only fill 70 of these, 30 remain unsold. And now all of a sudden, if you have, let's say, 50% profit margin on this, there's 30 seats that could be sold but aren't, that you still have to pay rent for. If you have a physical location, you still have to pay softwares for, you still have to pay marketing costs for, you still have to pay the tutors a lot of times, especially if they're on retainer on a salary. So this is actually a big problem, and this can eat up a lot of the margins without you even realizing it, right? These 30 empty sessions, although they might seem like 30 is not that much compared to 70, but this is 100% missed money, right? And this is not 100% made money because you don't have 100% profit margin, right? So only 50% of this is making you money, and then all of this is eating away your money. Now, a lot of people are gonna try and solve this problem by offering discounts. This is not really gonna work. It could work, and it technically does work temporarily, but in the long term, offering discounts or free trials or any sort of promos, it's really, you're just cutting corners. You're trying to hack your way to growth, right? And what happens here when you try and cut corners and you offer discounts and free trials, you get people who care about discounts and free trials, right? So your offer attracts the type of person who would want to buy what you have to offer. So if what you have to offer or what you're advertising is that either they don't have to pay or that they don't have to pay a lot, these people by definition are price shoppers because that is what they value. This is what attracted them to you. You told them that you're cheap and free. That's why they came, right? These people will never pay you a lot, okay? And these people will also very aggressively compare you to other tutors based on price, and they will cancel as soon as somebody can offer something lower. Like again, you're getting somebody in based on the fact that you don't charge a lot and that you offer something for free. If somebody's gonna give them a better, cheaper deal, they will cancel and they will switch. So summarize, discounts work in the short term, but these students will often churn and your schedule will remain empty again, and it will eat away at your profit margin. So it is a horrible long-term play. In fact, we advise most of our clients to raise their prices. God forbid that they ever lower them. So here's what tutoring companies that scale and grow do differently from most that don't grow and remain stagnant, right? The first thing is that they attract parents that are actively looking for help and aren't just looking for the cheapest option, right? You want to target parents who are already searching for tutoring and know they need it, they value education, and they know that this is an investment, and they aren't treating you as an annoying expense that you just have to keep paying, and they want to lower it every single month. Now, nobody can attract 100% of the perfect avatar. So the second step is absolutely crucial. This is where you filter out the price shoppers. This is where you filter out the time wasters, right? This is extremely important. Just this first step alone is maybe going to get you 60 or 70% of parents that are high quality. You need to manually filter out these people, or you have an automated system, which is even better, that filters out these people. So again, you want to prioritize families that are ready to commit to a structured program, that value education, and that have the means to invest. Now, a very simple way to filter here is just with like Facebook forms. So you ask them different qualifying questions, asking them what they prioritize, if they've invested in something like this before, stuff like that, just to gauge like, is this type of person a good fit for my program? And then lastly, they enroll them into programs instead of single sessions, right? So you want to think about scale here. Like, how can we grow this business? It's going to be very difficult and very complex to grow a single session one-on-one tutoring business. Instead of that, what you want to use is an 8-week or 10-week programs and exam prep cohorts, where you can group a bunch of students with a very good tutor who can teach 3 to 5 students at a time, and then you give them one-to-one support on top of that, meaning like every student gets the one-on-one support that they want, and you as the business owner can still have healthy profit margins because they're still grouped most of the time. Now, the goal here is that you have predictable revenue, you have stable schedules, meaning you're consistently booked out, and your students actually get better results. Now, this one can seem a bit counterintuitive, right? Since we're doing like group programs instead of one-to-one, but because you're filtering for better parents, children, 99% of the time, they're just a mirror and a reflection of their parents. So if you're getting higher quality parents who value education, who know that this is the key to their child's future and take it seriously, what do you think the kid's gonna do here? The kid's also gonna value education and they're gonna take it seriously. So these people are actually easier to work with, just beside the fact that they pay you more in the first place. So here's exactly what happens once you install this successfully. You can go from 15K per month using referrals and organic content like posting on Facebook, stuff like that, being inconsistent at that, to having 120 sales calls booked in 30 days. That's an average of 4 sales calls every single day, speaking to new parents, which can ultimately generate you 70K revenue in like 90 days time. The difference isn't like better tutoring, it isn't better systems on the back end, it's just predictable demand generation and very carefully handpicking which type of parent you want to work with. So if you finally want to stop relying on referrals, on word of mouth, on random inquiries and Facebook groups, which lead you to have unpredictable enrollment, and you finally want a consistent, predictable student acquisition system which fills your classes day after day, week after week, month after month, regardless of seasonality, regardless of what time of the year it is, there's going to be a link in the description of this video where you can book a call with my team, and we're going to go over exactly how we would implement this whole system done for you.